I'm just trying to help someone win, like I do from the beginning. Starting out today, the thought for today is about writing your goals. I would say writing goals down is very important. Having goals in the first place is even more important. However, that's a different video, that's a different topic. Because what I'm trying to talk about today is the power of writing something down, especially a goal. Because when you have these goals in your head, it's one thing, but when you take the time to write it down and put it on paper, that's another thing. So I'm going to be talking about, why writing goals is important, how to go about writing some goals, just some simple instructions regarding goals and the writing of goals. Now, I've been writing goals down for about 10 years now, I would say. Before I wrote my goals down, I really did not have concrete goals. I have very broad goals, like I want to be happy, I want to be rich, stuff like that, but nothing really that was concrete, nothing really that was specific. And I was just kind of going with the flow of life. It wasn't really until I got on a entrepreneur path, really started getting into a lot of different teachings regarding entrepreneurship, at the same time teachings regarding law of attraction, just studying successful people in general. Really one of the main things that I discovered was most successful people, they write down goals. Not only do they write down goals, but they make their goals very specific. They've got different areas of their life that they break goals down into. And I think the very first time I started writing down my goals, I listened to a Tony Robbins recording. It was I don't remember what it was called, but it was basically about writing goals, and it instructed me on how to break my goals down into different categories of life, track goals, stuff like that. So basically, yeah, I picked that up and I was like, whoa, this is pretty important. Like, I could see how this could really affect my life, make my life better. So I went and I took a lot of notes on the recording, and I went and I made a series of documents on Word and typed out my goals first, just to have like a blueprint, something I could save. And what I did was I went and I made goals for different areas of my life and broke them down into different time lengths, stuff like that. Started writing them, trying to do it every day. At first, I was like doing it every day. Then it came down to like I forget about it for a little bit, maybe do it once or twice a week. Then I get back on it, do it once a day and everything like that. So basically what happened was at the end of the first year, it was like certain goals I would hit and then certain goals I wouldn't hit. And then I realized, like, okay, yeah, like I've got too many goals, trying to do too many things. And just by writing that down and seeing what I hit, that's the biggest revelation I remember having right away, was really realizing how the goal process was that I had originally formulated. And then I was able the next year to go back and make less goals actually, so I could focus on less things at once, and I made more progress, and just keep continuing to make more progress as I continue to write down my goals. I feel like growing up, everybody I knew instructed me, as they did themselves, not to write down goals, but to write down like a list of things you gotta do, things you gotta get done. I mean, like, that turns into a never-ending list, really. And I used to do that myself, and I still do sometimes, even though it's like in addition to the goals that I'm doing. However, I realized that I always want to work on the most important thing, and then when other things come along, I can just kind of like put it to the side until I have time for it later, so I don't have to react to every little thing that crosses my path. I can just work on staying focused on one thing longer at a time. Alright, so yeah, that's just, my experience with writing goals, kind of like a brief preview. So basically, yeah, what we're going to get into is how to write some goals and what kind of goals you want to write, process to go about it, stuff like that. So when you're writing down a goal, at first I'm like, what's the big deal? Like, I don't understand, like, what's the difference between like typing it or like just, having it in my head? Like, as long as I know what it is, does it really matter? Well, yeah, I found out it really does, because when I take the time to write it every day, it's just something about writing that, like the muscle memory with writing something and my brain setting the electricity to instruct my hand to write, stuff like that. It does something where it makes what I'm writing, the goal in this case, feel more real, more concrete. So doing that is something that it's even really hard to explain the feeling until you start doing it yourself, until you start realizing like, wow, this is really making a difference, me just taking 2 or 3 minutes each morning to go and write this goal out. Alright, so basically what you want to do is you want to write goals, write down the biggest goals first. Like, think about like, the most important goals to you, the goals that would make you the happiest, the goals that would bring what you want into your life. Even really put them in order, like what's the most important, what's the least important. Do the biggest ones first, like make those the most important ones. I'd say try to find goals, really to start, that you think are going to be in a 5 to 10 year time frame. Of course, some goals are going to be quicker, some goals are going to take a lot longer, but achieving something, try not to really go on more than like 10 years out into the future. Can get kind of difficult when you're doing goals. Like, try to think more, try to focus more, put more energy on focusing more in the present. So basically, yeah, once you put those main goals down and say it's like 5 to 10 years, then you can go ahead and kind of like break them down into like, well, where would I need to be in like 3 years, where would I need to be in 2 years, where would I need to be in 1 year, kind of break it down year by year. So then what you want to do is basically the year in front of you, the next year coming up, break that down month by month. And then if you want to break it down more than that, you can, but really, just kind of like look at things like 1 month at a time, really, as far as like steps go. That's kind of what I do. Trying to look too far ahead, you don't really know how you're going to get there. Just kind of take it one step at a time. When you're thinking about these goals, when you're making up these goals, don't hold back. Make sure that you're making your goals bigger than you really even feel comfortable with. Like you want to try to achieve goals that you think are difficult, that you think are hard to achieve, that you think you might not be able to do. Over time it'll make it so you become more confident in the goals that you have, and you start with one goal one day, and then you can actually think, whoa, I did that, so I can do something more difficult and more difficult, and you just get better and more momentum. So basically, yeah, make your goals as big as you can possibly think. Shoot for the moon. Before you know it, it'll be there soon. Blowing up big like a balloon. So I would say really the best time to write goals are the first thing in the day and the last thing of the day. First time of the day, when you wake up, you just woke up fresh. Hold a meditation for a minute. Just think about your goals. Staying calm, staying cool in the early morning. It only takes like 3 minutes. Doesn't really have to upset your day. But really, that kind of like sets the tone of the day when you got these goals in mind. So it's like you're not kind of like wandering off, and next thing you know, you're like, what I do with the day, you've actually got these goals in mind. Like, yeah, this is what I want to be working on. It also kind of like makes the day more for me, more enjoyable and exciting, because I think about fresh in my mind what I'm going to be working on. And then of course at the end of the day is important too. You don't have to really do it twice. It just helps to do it extra. But at the end of the day, I mean obviously you're about to go to sleep. You get that stuff fresh in your mind at the end of the day when you're winding down. You go to sleep and have dreams about all the goals, dreams about what's going to be the next step. You never might know, man. The next thing might just come to you in your sleep, and you wake up with the idea like, okay, it's happened to me plenty of times where I've just woken up and I had this dream and I was like, okay, I know what I got to do now. I know what the next step is. So yeah, be really detailed with what you want, what kind of goals you want to achieve. The more detailed you are, the better. I really surprise myself sometimes when I get detailed with some of my goals, and then at the end of the day, when that goal is achieved, the more detailed it was, those details actually came to be as part of the goal. Where I kind of had the feeling if I hadn't been that detailed, it wouldn't have included those extra pieces to the puzzle, so to speak. On my feet, feeling complete. Alright, really, don't worry about how you're gonna reach this goal. Just think about the first thing you gotta do. Wake up in the morning, first thing you gotta do, get out of bed. The next thing is gonna come after that. You don't really think about it, you just do the first thing one at a time. So it's like, yeah, like, don't worry about like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, it seems impossible, whatever. Just think about the first thing that you can do, and then the next thing will come to you after that. So just take it one step at a time. And then make sure, once you finally do reach that goal, don't just like start the new one right away. Like, take some time to celebrate. Take a minute to pause and reflect about the process, what you went through, what kind of goals you set up, how you had it set up, what it was like. Kind of critique what you did, how you went about it, so you can make the next process better. Make sure you enjoy yourself, make sure you relax, kind of like start over, get a fresh mind, hold a good meditation for the next one. Yeah, you just repeat the process all over again, keep making them goals bigger and bigger. Hope you liked the topic of the day, hope it provided you with some value. Go and leave any comments, how it helped, what you might want to know, any questions, anything you want to hear about in the future. And keep it coming with this business knowledge. Is going to help you be successful, help you be rich the same way it helped me. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Have a great day.